Hi everybody, Colin Stevenson here. Thank you for joining myself and again my hero John Lenhart. Hi John.
How you doing?
John and I did a video, it would have been last week before last, about me being a server Y, okay? And now, server how. Today we're going to do compassion Y because I am a compassion server. This is my intangible drivers, and no matter what happens in my life, a personality test will always be different. My intangible drivers will always stay the same. So working with this allows all of us to remain and understand who we are no matter the situation. Now, John, I'll hand it over to you, my friend.
Right. So the thing with the intangible drivers is it is all about energy. You know, Colin and I could be compassionate in a moment, but I'm not going to get energy doing that for a long period of time. So with these intangible drivers, because we're humans, we have a certain uniqueness that when it's expressed, we gain energy. So these personality tests and all these other things show you how to slow down the loss of energy. We're actually talking about how to gain energy. So we did talk about the server how. The how is what people see. The how is the thing the person does to get the effect they're looking for. And so Colin's a server how. He'll do one of 7 things. He'll do all 7, you know, whatever the need is. I'm a teacher how. I'm going to explain. That's what I'm doing. The why is the effect you want other people to experience. And the why is closer to who you really are. So in the last video, we talked about analysis, which is personality tests and everything, looking at the person, and synthesis, which is I'm actually looking away from Colin. Colin, what's the effect you want to have on that person? Oh, you want their pain to be bared so they can go forward? That's what you want from them? Then your compassion. So the thing is, that's why this would prevent racism and sexism. I'm figuring out your uniqueness by looking away from you. It doesn't matter if you're a man or woman, it doesn't matter what race you are, your compassion, and I'm looking away from you. So compassion why means they want other people to have their pain bared so that they can move forward. And so that's the goal for what you want to see other people. So the best thing you can say to compassion why person is I feel better, because people are in a hole and they want people just out of the hole.
Yeah. Now, I love the way you say that. Now, I have learned a lot over the last year of speaking to you, okay? And I've always been, my whole life, I have been compassion why. Now, because I didn't understand the compassion why, but that was the way that I acted and the way that I was, I used to allow people to complain to me all the time. And that was my way of bearing their pain. So, what is wrong with you today? Oh, my life's a disaster. My boyfriend's a nightmare. My girlfriend's this. My family's this. I've got no money. Blah, blah. But this wasn't allowing me to serve them. Okay? This wasn't allowing me to serve them and to change whatever it was or assist them in what it was. So what I was doing was, as much as I was gaining energy by listening, I was losing energy by how the situation was getting taken on because I wasn't understanding their uniqueness. I was understanding the problem. So in my head, the untrained mind, I was doing what I was meant to be doing, but just in a negative way.
Right. And that's the thing about your uniqueness is you need to understand it, embrace it, and then you can direct it the right way because all these uniquenesses can go the wrong way. So compassion, you're going to be drawn to people who are in pain. We like to say, like the character Spider-Man, you have a spidey sense. You can walk into a room and you can instantly sense who's in the most pain. I cannot. I'm not compassion. So you would have naturally looked for the person in the most pain and been drawn to them complaining, whereas I would not have been drawn. So that's the first sign that someone's compassionate is they're drawn to somebody with pain. Now, you're taking that pain on so that they hopefully can move forward. The issue is as you take that pain on, if you don't get rid of that pain, then you're going to suddenly, the littlest thing's going to suddenly, we like to say, turn you into the Incredible Hulk. You go from Spider-Man to Hulk. And all of a sudden, compassion people don't get mad very often. But when they do, it's like pull the pin, here it all comes. Okay? You have experience with that, Colin?
I do. And Do you know, it's when I try to explain this to people, it's not because I'm an angry, unhappy, bad person. It's because I have to express myself because I've taken on too much from other people and situations that I have to let it out, you know, and if I'm not able to serve it in the right way or I'm not able to help in the right way, I've still got this. Now, because it is so eruptive, shall we say, or so explosive, most people don't expect it because they look at it, you've lied to me. You said to me that you were this nice person. I thought you were this nice, blah, blah. And then it comes from nowhere. But you know, once it's gone, it goes. And then it goes back to being this nice, gentle person that wants to help and wants to take on your pain again. But there's got to be some sort of release.
Exactly. And that's the hard part that these compassion people have, is that they are truly nice people. They're truly bearing your pain. But if they don't get rid of it, they suddenly explode. And a friend of mine, Jonathan, is compassion server. He and I train people together. And he likes to tell the story that what compassion people need to do is they need to have somebody that they can share that pain with, not at, but share it. But they're so convinced. The problem is, compassion people don't want to cause any pain. One of the examples I use to prove if someone's compassion is I'll look at them. I'll be in a room full of adults and I'll suddenly look at a grown man who I think is compassionate and I'll go, "You're causing me pain." And this grown man will go, and I'm like, "You're compassionate." Because the last thing in the world a compassionate person wants to do is cause pain. That's why when we did the video about racism and everything, is that we said, everybody's saying, you got to do something. And everybody believes that except compassion people go, I know I can do something that hurts people because I can feel it and I don't want to cause any pain. And all of this trauma in the world, you know, that's been going on has been really, really severe for compassion people because it's locked them up. They want to help, they want to express it, but they're feeling the pain of the world. And then they feel like they're bad people because they're not saying anything, but they know if they say something, it's going to do damage. And then all of a sudden they go right on Twitter or whatever, and they just hulk out and scream at everybody. Then if they scream at people, they feel twice as bad. And you explained it perfect. Jonathan likes to tell the story that he'll be on the phone calling me up and say, "Hey, can I just vent? I got to get this off of me." And I'm like, "Yeah." And he'll just start saying the meanest, rudest things, screaming, yelling. He'll go, "1 second, I got a call. Hey, how's it going?" Oh, and it's like, snap right back into being nice, you know. And I've seen people, the other proof of a compassion person is when they do this rant. "I am never caring for another person again. I am never doing that. There's no, what's wrong? What's wrong? Are you okay?" Like in the middle of the rant, and they're never going to do this again. What's wrong? Like, you can't help it. If you're compassion, you can't help but want to bear somebody's pain. And the goal is to help you learn how to manage that right so you can bear the pain, because this world needs compassion people. And the last thing I'll say about that is that on LinkedIn, I saw half the people a year ago were compassion people. Let's be nice to each other. And half the people were exhorters. Let's make $1 billion. And when COVID hit, the $1 billion people disappeared. All the exhorters went, and all the compassion people went, because they were feeling the pain of the world. They didn't know how to do it. And we need them. So you and I want to help all these people come back and learn how to deal with it the right way.
Yep, and absolutely. And I always want to help, but I always understand there can be repercussions as to how you help. And for people to understand what you just said about we've got to do something, yes, we do the right thing. And you know, and it's like sometimes it makes you, some people say, "You're meant to care about me, you care about this all the time." I actually care more by not doing anything because I know it's going to hurt.
Okay, now you just hit a huge gold mine here, okay? Because this is one of the things I do to help compassion people. You just nailed it. Because the worst thing that happens with compassion, especially if they're smart compassion people. So here's what this looks like, is when somebody's growing, they're gonna feel pain. Growth is painful. That's the way it is. So if you look at this, is a 3-step process. This person's trying to grow, but they feel pain. Step 1, they feel pain. Step 2, compassion person comes in, takes the pain away. Step 3, the person grows. That's how the world works. I look at compassion people and I say, you should call yourself growers.
Yep.
Because really, what you do is you facilitate the growth in the world. Okay. Now, a smart compassion person goes, John, I can make this a one-step process. I can prevent this person from ever experiencing any pain. And I like to look at them and go, and you just prevented their growth.
Yep.
That's called enabling. Compassion people are world-class enablers. They prevent anybody from experiencing any pain, and then they're preventing the growth. So what I like to say to people is that this person is feeling pain for one or two reasons. Pain they caused. If this person is feeling pain they caused, then it's enabling to bear that. They should feel that pain, and it should cause them to make a change and move forward. If you remove that pain, you just enable them to go cause more pain.
Yeah.
Pain they didn't cause. Somebody's beating that person up. You should, and we talked about that with the racism video. If it's unjust, if it's abuse, you want to go in there and relieve it right now. Yeah. But that's the thing, is as a compassion person, you want to sit there and let them feel their pain, and then you help remove it in a way that helps them get forward. Yeah. So that's, compassion people are classic enablers.
Now, just as you mentioned that triggered so much in my brain there, because going through previous relationships, okay, and I'll talk openly about this, and I'll not keep you all day, right? But talking about previous relationships, I'm naturally drawn to people that I can help, okay? So when I am years when I went through my kind of growth phase myself, which was quite a lot of pain, but going through this process, I would be drawn to somebody that was nice, yeah, but they obviously had a broken side that I didn't see, but I felt. So then we get into the relationship, and I don't want them to feel pain, so I bared the whole lot, which didn't allow them to grow. So I was growing with their pain, and I was allowing this to happen. So I thought we were growing together, but what happens is I grow ahead, and this person's still at the back here, because I've taken everything. I've paid for everything. I've explained everything. I've taught everything. I've done everything. I've done all the work. And this person's not learned. And now that this person's not learned, I am ready to hulk out, as we spoke about, because now it's frustrating me that they aren't doing anything for themselves, and I caused the problem.
So compassion people are classic for being in abusive relationships. It's for everything you just said, drawn to people in pain and everything. And the question I love to ask compassion people, especially younger people, is I say, you have a choice. You can either help one person, you can either fix one person, or you can work with one person to fix the world. But you can't do both.
Yeah.
So when it comes to picking a partner, compassion people tend to pick a partner that they're going to fix, then they're not going to be able to fix the world. Yeah. But a really solid, high self-esteem compassion person ought to pick somebody that they can work together with to fix the world. And that's really what's really hard about this, is when I deal with compassion people, they tend to be the ones, if you're a parent and you have a kid who just is always into these abusive relationships, and you say, but they're so nice. Yeah, they're compassion. They're a compassion person, and they're not using it the right way. They're enabling that person. They're preventing their growth. They're making it. And here's the issue. Compassion people don't want to cause pain, and they avoid confrontation. So that's another measure I use for a low self-esteem compassion person. Does that person avoid confrontation? If you have a boss and they always avoid confrontation, they're a compassion person. Now, here's the thing. A compassion person's superhero ability is confrontation. So I'm going to ask you, Colin, okay? How many times has someone said to you, I don't understand it. I said that to those people, they got mad at me. You said it to them, and they didn't get mad.
Right. This is because my superpower is that I can go through the 7 stages, as we spoke about, and I can pick up their energy and understand how to speak to them without even having to think about it. and this is, again, I don't understand how it works. You're the only person ever to be able to explain it to me, but I can speak to a person within a couple of seconds, I pick up on the energy, and then I roll with it. Then they understand the way that they want to understand it, not the way that I want to say it.
Right. And I say that all the time, you know, is the compassion person's actually the one who should be doing all the confronting, because people feel that and they feel cared for, they feel connected, and they don't have a problem with it. And we've done this. I've said stuff, people got mad. I've had Jonathan say exactly the same stuff. And so if you're a person that people have come up to and said, hey, how come when you say it, no one gets mad, but when I say it, you're a compassion person?
Yeah.
So that's how that works. Now, the thing is compassion, you know, they can be different forms of compassion. And what I want to do is I want to talk about, there's this movie called The Intern.
Yep.
It's with Robert De Niro and Anne Hathaway. And Robert De Niro plays this 60-some-year-old person who interns at this new company. And Anne Hathaway is in charge of the company. And he ends up being her intern. He is compassion server. Okay, so he is you, Colin. And one of the things I like to say is I believe I can teach leadership to anybody because I have the non-contradictory definition. We covered it and help people do it. But there are certain people who are natural leaders if they operate in it, and that is a compassion server.
Yep.
So what I will tell you is that a compassion server is a natural leader because, you know, perceiver, teacher, compassion are three of the intangible drivers. They're all looking to the past. Givers in the present, and then server, administrator, exhorters in the future. Notice what you got with compassion server. You got a person looking backwards, and you got a person looking forwards. Compassion server. And the thing is that people who tend to be backwards, I'm going to say, are very intangible.
Yeah, okay. I like that.
Very spiritual.
Yep.
Okay, they're all about like what's the problem, what was the cause, you know, how do you feel about it? And that's a backward step that's tangible. And then the forward people are looking at stuff that doesn't exist, the intangible. So what happens is when you deal with people, Colin, if you deal with people that are very, I say backwards, very in, you know, they don't want to create anything, they don't want to be held to the stuff.
Yep.
You have to pull them into the stuff. And then if you
Absolutely.
deal with these people that are into stuff, but they don't have any principles behind it, you pull them into it. That's what you naturally do. What you do with people is you're sensing, you know, with some people, you're the fun guy, and with some people, you're the anchor. Okay?
Yeah.
Because you're like that. And that's what a leader does, is a leader gets people out of a hole, compassion, and gets them forward, server. Finds their purpose and helps them make progress. Yep. Leader facilitates purpose, progress of others. Compassion server is perfect at that. Okay. And so that's what you do. That's why when you deal with people, you're always going, man, this person's way over here and I need to be this guy. This person's way over here. I need to be this guy. And then you can find people about. Well, in the movie, Anne Hathaway is what's called exhorter teacher.
Okay.
And we'll eventually cover these, but I will tell you this. There are several executive coaches on LinkedIn who are exhorter teachers.
Yep.
Okay. So teacher Hal, like me, they're going to explain everything. But exhorter is, they want you to be jacked. Holy cow. I just want you to be excited about your life. Are you excited about your life? Be excited about your life. Oh, I can't tell you how excited I am about my life. They are exhorter teachers. Anne Hathaway's exhorter teacher. If you watch this movie, you will see what's going on behind the scenes with all these exhorter teacher coaches that are on LinkedIn. Because it is exhorter, which is infinitely forward, and then teacher, which is, but I got to explain it. And they walk such a fine line that they're always one step away from crying, tears, being upset. It's all over. It's never going to work. But you need to do that. And these are the people, if you remember, they're non-server house. So these are the coaches who go, I can make anybody awesome because you just need to do it. I'm going to exhort you till you do it. I'm going to explain it to you, do it, and you're just going to do it. And then half the people they help don't do it because they're server house. And then these people complain, why, oh, well, they just didn't. you don't understand uniqueness. You're so jacked up about the future. You're doing this. In that movie, Anne Hathaway's the owner of the company, and she's on a knife's edge. Robert De Niro is the intern. He's the lowest person in the company, but he's compassion server. And I like to say he plays compassion bingo, meaning there's 7 things a server can do. Everything he does in that movie, and he's an example of a perfect compassion server, everything he does in that movie is to bear someone's pain, but how he does it, he perceives. So compassion perceiver is when he's funny. When you're funny, Colin, it's a one-liner.
Yeah.
You're being compassion perceiver. When he explains something, he's compassion teacher. At one point, he gives a guy his handkerchief. He's compassion giver. He hits all 7 of those, and he is leading the intern. And one of the things I point out, I deal with these EBD teachers, in schools. 90% of the special ed teachers in the United States are compassion server. 90% of them are you, Colin.
Yeah.
And the EBD students in the elementary and middle school are Anne Hathaway.
Yeah.
They're Anne Hathaway. And I like to show these teachers, you're the natural leader, and watch how Robert De Niro leads her without her even knowing it. And he is actually, that's an example of what a leader looks like. And compassion people really are leaders, but compassion people think they're weak and emotional, but it takes a strong person to pull someone out of a hole. So out of all 7 intangible drivers, I will tell you, compassion is the strongest. It's the one we need most in the world, and it's the one that the world puts down. The world loves the other 6. The world hates compassion people because they're weak, they're emotional, they're a bunch of babies, and they're actually the strongest ones out there.
Yeah, I love that. And just before we go, I know that we've got to finish now, but there was something you mentioned last week, and it's even away from me now. So compassion is obviously us being able to, bear other people's things, okay? But last week we spoke about, I can't remember what we spoke about, it was something, I've lost my train of thought, but we spoke about something and it showed a sign of weakness in a person, okay? Now, when we have this sign of weakness, we pick up on that, and we also allow that to be our strong point to give to them, so it boosts this part of their, whether it's their ego or their behaviors. We can lift this up, and we can allow them to feel more empowered within themselves and bring that out on them.
Right. And so compassion wants to feel what you're feeling.
Yeah.
So one of the things I do to compassion people to make them awkward is I don't share my feelings.
Yeah.
So if I were to meet you for the first time, Colin, I go, I'm John. I live in Wisconsin. It's Friday, and if I just talk factually, the compassion person gets tweaky. Like they connect by feeling what you're feeling. So the number one thing I teach compassion people is, do you know how to get other people to tell you what they're feeling, good or bad? Compassion people don't care if you're feeling bad. They don't care if you're feeling good. They just want to know how you're feeling, because until they know how you're feeling, they can't connect. And when you see 2 compassion people, it's super awkward, because one comes up to and goes, how you doing? Well, how you doing? Well, I'll know how I'm doing when I know how you're doing. Well, I don't know how I'm doing. And it's like, so compassion people tend to be super awkward with each other, and we'll teach that to compassion people. So compassion wants to feel what you're feeling. Exhorters, these coaches I was talking about, they want everybody to feel what they're feeling.
Yeah.
So compassion and exhorter tend to get along at first, because the exhorter wants you to feel what they're feeling, and compassion wants to feel what you're feeling, and they get along. But that's what exhausts you eventually with these exhorters, is if you don't feel what they're feeling, they're out on you. So yeah, you want to feel what other people are feeling, and it's important for people to share that with you, and then you feel connected. Then you can help them.
Love that. Now, last thing before we go, I've got one more thing that I would like to say that's just dawned on me just now. So what, for a business, if we had a compassion server woman, that would be the ultimate person in leadership, would it not? Because women are naturally better. They're able to do 5 things at once, and if they were compassion server, surely there's nobody else that could beat that.
If they're flowing.
Yeah, if they're flowing, absolutely.
If they're flowing, there is no beating that. And that's why I like to talk about mature compassion servers versus young compassion servers. I am fortunate enough to work with some mature compassion server women. And what's funny is, you know, I was working with a company that's a concrete company, right? Concrete early men. It was a mature compassion woman running the company. And you'd think, what's a woman doing running a concrete company? She is leading this company. She doesn't have to know everything about concrete. She's got people to do that. But she was in flow. She knew how to not enable people. She knew how to get everybody forward. She knew how to do all that. Yeah. So that's the thing is you're right. A true compassion server, I'm going to say mature, high self-esteem woman who can flow, there would be no way to defeat that. That would be perfect.
This is what we need more of, and I think you and I need to go out on a mission to get this. But on that, I'm going to thank you very much for your time again. I'm looking forward for this to be put out. Thank you to everybody for watching. It's been excellent, and I'm looking forward to talking about somebody else next week. We can find out about other people for a change. But again, thank you very much, John. I'll speak to you soon. Take care.